We are going to be starting right now with the headspace of masculine energy. I am going to be utilizing the Smith-Waite Centennial deck to read into the headspace of masculine. Can I please get 3 cards, please? 3 cards we are starting our day off with today are the Knight of Wands in its reversal. We've got here the 5 of Pentacles in its reversal, and we also have here the 10 of Pentacles in its reversal. So let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing here. And again, bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. I feel like there's a lot of work that we're recognizing is happening right now in the headspace of masculine, in relationality to working through the modality or the experience of being able to articulate upon, and I keep on getting this. This is a lot of work that's happening in relationality to working through or identifying with the feeling of vulnerability. And this is what's so hard about this type of energy right now, because I'm just going to continue to walk this through for those who are potentially experiencing this. Jupiter retrograding in Cancer can often create the space by which we navigate a lot of energetic. It's almost like I like to describe it as working into the context of healing or working to shed the egoic self. And the modality by which we work to heal that self is often characterized or articulated by our own ability to recognize it, is what I keep on seeing. And I feel like there's something really beautiful about that for the energy that is working in this capacity, because it talks a lot. Like, I almost feel like there's a lot of that energy that is working through the context of who we feel that we need to arrive towards in relationality to the world around us, right? The sense of the self that we have to kind of energetically erect, as it were, often that speaks towards our own sense of, I keep on hearing like our own sense of energetic determination. And the space by which we see that a lot of that energy, I just keep on hearing a lot of that energy articulating upon the space of doing their best to try to let their energetic guard down. And here's the hard part about it, right? Because and this is what we experience, because the the modality by which the modality by which we understand, and this is often why we understand that when we let our guard down, we often find a much kinder place around us than we were energetically prepared for, is all I keep on seeing. That modality or that experience by which we recognize or understand the shape and nature of that work, right? The ability to effectively articulate upon that vulnerability. And this is what's beautiful about it, right? Every time we're energetically vulnerable, we allow the possibility of a better world to be around us. Because often, and this is what happens, right? When we navigate the world with our energetic guard up, we are constantly in a moment by which we're prepared for escalation, right? And that's the hard part about it. Like, we've got that egoic wall, right? We've got that egoic wall that we walk around with everywhere. And we feel that we're being energetically protective within ourselves. But what do others perceive? It looks to others, right? Like we're energetically ready for something, right? It's like that modality by which we navigate in a combative space. And this perception, right? This is what I see that masculine is recognizing, that what feels, and this is a hard part about it. This is why you have to be very careful about the ego, right? Because when we feel fear, right? When we feel fear, when we're moving through something and we feel afraid, we become the source of terror, right? Because when you feel energetic fear, you've got your guard up, right? And then when you've got your guard up, what do you look like when you have your guard up? You look energetically threatening to the world, right? It's like the fear puts a scary face on our fear. So what we feel as fear is experienced as terror. But the terror that we feel is evidence in the way that another person perceives us. So that's why we see that this is a lot of the energy that is recognizing or trying to understand that that is the quality of our fear. This is why we say the only thing you have to fear is fear itself, because your fear will make you appear threatening to those around the self. And that's why we do the work to energetically overcome our fear. Because and this is not to say that fear is not important, right? There are modalities by which we should bring true fear to things, but a healthy fear is energetically reasonable in relationality to what is outside the self. It's not something that we bring with the self. And I keep on getting that this is a lot of the energy of the masculine working through working through that energetic conundrum, but also feeling the energetic weight of that, right? The understanding of why I keep on hearing this is what we talk about in relationality to finding that sense of being centered within the self. Because when we're centered within ourselves, we're able to recognize and identify the proper energetic position by which we should effectively navigate or address things. And I keep on seeing that this is a lot of the energy that's getting better and this is why we have to feel our feelings, because if you don't allow yourself to feel your feelings, you never get better at that. Continuing to get clarification, moving towards feminine energy right now. And for feminine energy, we're going to be utilizing I'm feeling inclined to use the Nouveau Tarot. Can I get 3 cards, please? We've got the Devil card in its upright. We've got the 7 of Cups in its reversal, and we have the Queen of Cups in its reversal. And so this is a lot. I see that this is a lot of the work that the feminine is doing right now. Um, and I keep on getting it's working into the context of being able to recognize and identify. And it's interesting that, like, the space of feelings is coming up because I feel like there's a lot of masculine energy that is working into the identification point or the conversation on fear. But for feminine, I feel like it has more to do with navigating the realms of the feelings. And there's something and I keep on hearing, like, there's something happening with the feminine, which is the space of the feminine understanding, and this is what's so difficult, right? Um, Feminine energy is not cake. Feminine energy is not cake. And often the way that you can tell that somebody is deep in their ego is that they look at feminine as cake, which is the modality by which another person feels like they energetically deserve a piece of feminine energy. That's the modality by which feminine is like working to heal. It is the sense of energetic entitlement that often occurs by which another person sees that you exist. They simply see the modality by which you exist, and they feel the sense of feeling the right to demand a piece of the energy, is what I keep on seeing. And this is what we understand, like the quality of understanding that when we are respective of each other, we're not demanding to it. And I keep on seeing that there are a lot of feminine energy that is recognizing the difference between love and possessiveness, right? Because love is the modality by which you honor another's choices. You honor another's choices and you energetically celebrate those choices. It is the gift that we give that is often the amplification of feeling the energetic elation by which another person, and often when feminine is in the modality by which they feel that their choices are honored, the feminine feels like they can flourish and thrive. They become more embodied in the feminine the more that they feel, right? If the more that they feel that they can be in the space of their feminine, the more that they want to be in their feminine. But the modality by which another person demands that the feminine energy occupy the feminine doesn't want to be in the feminine energy because the feminine energy realizes that that is energy that is not honoring the feminine. Because it's the energy that says that they demand upon it, which is why the feminine effectively closes their doors to it. So it's the modality that we understand, and this is why understanding and recognizing that love, like love is an act of energetic respect and honor. It's not the space by which we don't I keep wondering, we don't bang upon the doors of love and demand entry. But you would be surprised how many look towards the world, right? And this is why it's so important that we fix ourselves if we want to fix our relationships, right? You can't be in the demanding space. You can't be in the space by which you say, "Oh, nobody wants to be in a relationship anymore," being like, nobody wants to be in a relationship with someone who says that. Nobody wants to be in a relationship who says that, because when you say that, you're saying, "I demand a relationship," right? I am here. I don't want to do the I don't want to do the work to understand how to get in one. I just demand one. I should have one. I see everybody else having one. Why don't I have one, right? And often in the moment by which you're literally spiraling out because you're articulating that you don't have one is the space by which you're literally showing another person that you feel like you're owed one. And that's the sad truth of it, where none of us are owed relationship. And the modality by which we recognize that is the modality. And the minute that we understand that relationships are not owed, are portion, they're not something that are handed out, we start to understand, what can I do to honor myself to find one? Because the journey of finding healthy partnerships starts with the self. The modality by which we fix our hearts makes us ready to be able to find the relationship that we can open our hearts within. So I just keep on seeing that a lot of that energy is working through modalities or experiences by which they've had to navigate the feeling, right? Having to navigate the energetic fear that they often have to experience in the modality of having to like literally walk through like the danger point in order to effectively assess those who are doing the work properly on themselves versus the energy that looks upon relationship as a space to have one's demands met. And this brings us to a lot of the this brings us to the non-binary energy. And for non-binary energy right now, I'm going to be utilizing I'm going to be utilizing the Tarot of the Divine for the headspace of non-binary. 3 cards, please. We have here the 5 of Cups in its upright, the 7 of Swords in its reversal, and the 6 of Coins in its upright. So, what do we energetically see that is occurring there in relationality to the non-binary energy space? This is a lot. I just keep on seeing it's It's really I keep on getting there's a lot of this I wanna describe it as a lot of this opening and closing is what I keep on getting. It's interesting that as soon as I started reading on the energy, my hands started going like this, because what we effectively see that's happening there is and I keep on getting this, it's working through frustration. It's like literally taking frustration and trying to put it in a productive space. It's like taking the frustration and trying to move it into some place that feels like it's energetically productive. And a lot of that energy I see, like, and I keep on seeing that there's a conversation there in relationality to understanding, and I just keep on hearing this, the modality by which uh nobody has the right to articulate how we have to energetically carry ourselves but ourselves. And I think it's interesting because I actually keep on getting that for a lot of this energy, um, there's a level of I keep on hearing fury, but empathy is what I keep on seeing. And why do I keep on hearing um fury but empathy? Because I just keep on identifying that in those modalities or experiences by which they're energetically working through something. That capacity by which they're not allowing themselves I keep on almost seeing this energy being like not allowing themselves to get triggered, even in the midst of energy that feels like like and this is the thing about it, and this is often what you recognize. When someone deep in their ego will literally delight in triggering another person. Like, we gotta talk about it, and this is why when you see that, like, this is why I see a lot of that energy when they see it, it's like they don't even get mad, they get sad, is what I keep on getting. Like, I keep on hearing the energy go, they don't get mad, they get sad. Because you have to understand that, and this is why you get sad, because you understand that, like, when you are so deep in your ego, right? When you are so trapped within yourself, that the only delight that you feel that you can find in your existence is feeling like you're hurting another person and feeling some energetic delight in doing so, like, that is why I feel like the energy carries a sorrow beyond words because they understand, like, I can see the energy that literally understands the pain that a person has to carry with them every single moment in like, when you have lost all joy because you've abandoned every journey. And the only place that you can find any kind of delight is working into the space by which you feel like you're energetically hurting another. Like, that is the energy that I keep on seeing feels sad and disgusted and mortified and just working into the context of sorrow because they themselves have experienced that before. And the modality by which I keep on hearing, like, the modality by which they work to keep their heart open, even having navigated situations or scenarios like that, I just keep on hearing, like, it's a lot of the energy that says, I keep on hearing the energy almost say, at least it's working. And why are they saying at least it's working? They're talking directly about their heart space, right? At least mine's still working, is what I keep on hearing. Continuing to get clarification, moving back towards masculine energy. Can I get 3 cards, please? And we're gonna be utilizing for the masculine heart space. We're gonna be utilizing the Tarot of the Divine for the heart space of masculine right now. We've got here the King of Wands in its reversal. And this is really interesting. I just wanna show you this for those who are tarot nerds like I am. We've got the Knight of Wands in its reversal with the King of Wands in its reversal here. That's some really intense energy. We're gonna get into it in a minute. We've got the Emperor card in its reversal, and we also have the Three of Wands in its reversal. So, let's talk a little bit about the heart space that we're recognizing or we see is working through right now, with a lot of the masculine energy. I just keep on seeing that a lot of this energy right now is I keep on getting the same force of effort that's occurring in those modalities and experiences. And, like, this is I mean, and I wanna describe this here, especially with the Emperor in its reversal. The Emperor in its reversal is working into, it's talking into the space of being able to identify and recognize that the work that we do, like, I keep on hearing, and this is what's beautiful for a lot of that masculine energy that I see that is facilitating upon that work, the identification of working tirelessly to protect others' heart spaces. That's what I keep on hearing. I wanna just be clear, that's what night energy actually is. You wanna talk about what a knight is? Like, that's what a knight is, right? It's somebody who works energetically tirelessly to protect the right of others' heart spaces. And that's all I keep on hearing with a lot of that healed masculine energy, working to protect the right of others' heart spaces. And here's the thing about that work, it's tireless because when you work to protect the right of others' heart spaces, you don't care whether you're in them or not, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you feel that you reside within that heart space or not. The work that you do to protect another's right to make that energetic choice is what we effectively articulate that we understand and defend. And that modality, like, and I keep on getting this, like, and this is what I keep on seeing in relationality to a lot of the energy doing that work. And this is why we work on healing the egoic space, because when we articulate upon the space of an honor or the identification point of working into a space of honor. It's the modality by which we recognize the nature that we protect things. And I keep on hearing the masculine energy going through a lot of that journey because I keep on hearing them saying that the work that they do to protect their own heart space is to protect the right of others to decide what they want to put in their heart spaces. Because the modality by which we work through our bitterness isn't the space by which we're energetically reactive in relationality to how another person feels about us. It doesn't matter how another person feels about us when we care about them, right? It doesn't matter. And that's the shape of love. That is literally the song of love, right? The modality by which we say, I don't care how you feel about me. I love you. And the modality by which I show you that I love you is by honoring your choices, even if those choices don't include the self. That's what we mean by the love that is selfless, right? That is what we mean by the love that serves the greater call of love, because the space by which we articulate and we say to one another that the modality by which we respect each other is the amplification and articulation of honoring the choices that we make. This is the shape by which I feel a lot of the masculine is working to heal their heart space. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's painful, right? There's a lot of those energetic feelings that come up in the modality or experience of doing that work. But I keep on seeing that that is why I keep wondering, like, that is why the energy understands that love is selfless, right? Love is selfless because that's what we mean by love being selfless. It doesn't say, I'm doing this, so let me in there, right? It says, I do this because this is the amplification or the force of my capacity to care. While continuing, moving towards the feminine heart space, we've got three cards, please. And we're going to be utilizing for feminine the Smithwaite Centennial deck. One's cantilevered. This happened last time. We were doing feminine and there was a cantilevered card, but it was in the center. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. We've got the 10 of Cups in its upright. We've got the Page of Wands in its reversal. And we also have the 7 of Wands. And I don't want to say it's cantilevered. I mean, 7 of Swords, correction. 7 of Swords cantilevered. And it's important. It's energetically important because the card is cantilevered. The card is cantilevered towards the Page of Wands. And why is the card cantilevered towards the Page of Wands? Because the card is cantilevered towards the Page of Wands because it is a continuation. It's a continuation of that conversation that we see as it relates to, and I keep on getting this. This is a lot of the energy that is working on, I keep on seeing a lot of the feminine energy is working on productive ways to energetically communicate their frustration. And I want to stress this because this is something that keeps on coming up in the headspace, in the heart space of feminine, which is, and I just keep on, it's interesting too, because I should be reading for this in the unconscious of the feminine, but the fact that it's coming up in the heart space of the feminine is why it's so complicated. It's a complicated space by which the feminine needs to hold their heart right now, which is the modality by understanding. And I keep on hearing it's working through healing the energy that feels like one got like the circumstance by which one feels that another, like the space by which another, um like, I keep on hearing, like, the space by which we navigate the energetic frustration about, and this is what I keep on hearing. It feels like it's working through, I keep on hearing something about the first place being the worst place, but it's almost saying to me, like, the thing you have to understand is, and I feel like this is what is happening right now for a lot of the feminine energy. You know, articulating upon the energetic cause of something is important. But causes aren't solutions, is what I keep on hearing. right? How we got somewhere is helpful, is important, right? It's really important to be able to articulate how we got somewhere is what I keep on hearing. Doing something, right? Like you have to carry 2. You have to hold it in both hands, right? Like, you can't just articulate like, the ability to understand and articulate how one has arrived to a location is half the work. The other half is have to le is doing the work necessary in order to facilitate energetically fixing something, and that's what I keep on getting, and I keep on hearing something about the feminine is uncrossing, like, they're uncrossing their heart space, and the reason I keep on hearing that the feminine is uncrossing their heart space is often, I need to point this out, the modality by which something is problematic and all we do is talk about how we arrived at that point. It's helpful, isn't it? Knowledge is powerful. Knowledge is a powerful shield, but knowledge doesn't fix things. Right? Fixing things. If you spend all of your time doing research, I keep on hearing if you spend all of your time doing research, you're not actively working on creating the change that you hope to see in the world. It's a very yeah, I can get this. I understand what this message is coming through right now, given the new moon that we're working towards, right? Like, I keep on hearing research is half of it, the other half is what you're gonna do about it, and so I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy of the feminine, that is working. I keep on hearing they're working to uncross the heart space, and the reason they're working to uncross the heart space is the modality of not being like I keep on hearing understanding, and it's a continuation of what we saw in the pathwork of forgiveness, understanding the ability, like working through the energetic history that allows one to ground oneself in the present, not so that one needs to understand the modality. And here's the thing about it. Sometimes the modality of understanding things makes it harder to do something in the present. So that's why I keep on seeing that there's a lot of this energy that is working on staying very active in the present because I keep on hearing the solution the solution is not necessarily found in the past, but being able to look to the past can help us understand and recognize like the force of intention that we're working for in the present. But I keep on seeing it has to be energetically proportional because I keep on hearing that there's something about I don't want know I keep on hearing something about history being a convenient shield because the modality by which we want to always talk about the past often I keep on hearing that often doesn't allow the context by which we can work tangibly in relationality to what we're doing about fixing it is what I keep on hearing. And I think that that's important as it relates to relationships because I either feel like that's the feminine reminding themselves of that as they're proceeding upon something but also potentially having that conversation in relationality to working on healing relationship, right? Understanding, understanding the history of what's potentially happened doesn't fix something. Right? And there are those that will come to you with full knowledge, right? So there are those that will come to you with full knowledge of what they've done. Doesn't mean that they're committed to doing something different. You have to see that changeable. You have to see that change that effectively needs to be that needs to appear in the world is what I keep on seeing. So that's a lot of the energy that is articulating upon that. That's like what I keep on hearing. It's like it's good to have this history, but be the change you hope you see is all I keep on hearing. Now that and that's the energy that I feel like they're saying that outside of the self, but they're also saying that to the self. Continuing to get clarification. We're moving towards a non-binary energy. Can I get 3 cards, please? 3 cards for the heart space of non-binary. And we're going to be utilizing the tarot of the Nouveau tarot for the heart space of non-binary. Where should my heart be at? Yeah. We've got here the 3 of cups in its reversal, the 10 of swords in its reversal, and the moon card in its upright. This is some cool energy. This is some cool energy that I'm seeing right now this is some cool energy I'm seeing in the non-binary heart space, but I keep on hearing cool for a reason. Is what I keep on getting. And why do I keep on hearing cool for a reason? Because how do I describe this best? And this is a continuation that I keep on seeing in relationality to a lot of that energy, trying to stay logic focused is what I keep on getting. And it's a conversation, right? And I think that there's something about that by which, how do I describe it best? Like the cool energy that I'm seeing in the heart space of the non-binary is the energy that has worked through that has worked through experiences by which, and I keep on hearing they're going through the pathwork of the past, and they're looking back upon things by which another person was not cool with them. And I keep on getting, and it's interesting too because I keep on hearing not cool in relationality to the past of some of this energy. And the reason, and the reason that this is coming up, and I just want to walk you through this again because it has a lot to do with coming into the conclusion of these moon relationships that we saw, and we're reaching that culmination point now. So what was the major lesson that we saw that was coming through the moon relationship cycle? It's not enough to have a manifestation goal. You have to be equipped to be ready for what you're going to feel as you move towards it. Manifestation zones are surreal territory, right? Because when you're doing something that you've never done before, you're going to feel things that you've never felt before. And there are many that would claim that they're ready for a relationship, but then the minute they get into one, they realize that they're not ready to handle all the new feelings that show up, and they go running for the hills. And in a way, that's a bit of a bet. At least that's a best, like that's a good thing. If someone recognizes that, right? Like, this is the energy that totally gets it in the modality of another person that articulates and says to another, I'm not the type of person that can handle a relationship. When an energy sees that in someone, they go, bless you for knowing yourself enough that you understand. Like, that's the energy that gets that. Because the modality by which we recognize or identify the work that we do in terms of having to navigate the feelings, it's the first step, right? But there's more to be said about it because you can't, I keep on hearing the modality by which we work through something, and I keep on getting the same messages coming through in those modalities or experiences. The the ability to effectively, how do I describe this best? The ability to effectively have experienced trauma by which another person, like, continually, I keep on hearing the modality by which they've had to have experiences by which another person said, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I'm not ready for this. That causes a wound, right? Even in the context by which you know, even in the context by which you understand what is happening, it still energetically hurts. And that's why I see that this is a lot of energy that navigates relationship with a sense of that energetic coolness, because I keep on seeing that that is the energy that is always working through the modality of having to navigate. Like, there, I keep on hearing this is the energy that recognizes that they are often the bravest one in the room. And when you're the bravest person in the room, you get very, very used to having your heart broken, is what I keep on hearing. Being the bravest person in the room is often a heartbreaking experience because it's a modality by which you recognize that you are working towards something, and it's almost always the context by which others feel like they let you down. So that's what I keep on seeing is hard for a lot of that energy, right? It's and then and here's again the modality by which another person articulates them and says, you seem like you've got a lot of walls up." And the energy's like, "Of course I do." And they're like, "Why do you have all those walls up?" And be like, "'Cause I'm always the bravest one in the room." Right? It's a very hard spot to be, right? It's a very painful space to be when you're in that modality because it's often you just have to be like it's the energy that's always energetically prepared for that. And it's painful, but it doesn't change the shape or the nature of the work that they do, right? It's a lot of that energy. And this is why the energy says you got to love yourself through it, right? Because when you're the bravest person in the room, there's one person in the room, at every minute has always got your back, right? There's always one person in there who's always got your back. And all it takes, right? All it takes is a world with a bunch of people that are the bravest person in the room to actually get somewhere. And that's what I keep on seeing with a lot of this energy, which is the modality of like holding that position and even now navigating situations or circumstances by which, I keep on hearing working through modalities of simultaneous like love and heartbreak right now. There's a lot of that energy here. Continuing to get clarification, and we're moving into the unconscious, and we're moving back into the masculine, unconscious space. Can I get 3 cards to clarify, please? 3 cards to clarify, and the we'll be utilizing the tarot, the Nouveau Tarot, please. 3 cards. 2, 3. We've got 1 cantilevered. We've got the Emperor, or we've got the King of Swords in its upright. We've got the Queen of Swords in its upright. And we've got the Judgment card in its reversal. So let's talk a little bit about that energy here, because and this is what I keep on getting. This is like I gotta tell, like, this is that, that's the type of energy. How do I describe that energy? That's the type of energy I'm picking up right now in the unconscious of the masculine. How do I describe that? And it's like, oh, how do I describe it? The thing I keep on seeing, and it really is like it's hands on the hip kind of energy. And it's working into, I keep on hearing it's working into the space of understanding and recognizing. And I keep on hearing the energy basically trying to articulate and saying, um, you can't you can't say that like the difference between a demand and care is working into the context of now. I keep on hearing it's like it says to me like it's very Aries energy, right? It's giving me a lot of that Aries energy, which articulates upon the space that understanding that. And I keep on hearing this, like the way that we find ourselves is the modality by which we always get back up, is what I keep on hearing. And the thing I keep on seeing with that energy, and I like to point this out, getting back up, like, and I keep on seeing the modality by which, and I keep on getting this. And remember when I said that this is the energy that knows themselves? This is the energy where someone can say something to them that they know is not about the self. And I keep on hearing the energy say that this is the shape of understanding the self. We don't navigate others' projections of us when we truly know ourselves. When we're navigating another person's projection, it continues as unless there's a grain of truth to it, is the only time another person's projections of us should sting. And then when we feel a grain of truth in another person's projections, we go, I'm here to listen to it, right? Like that is effectively, and that's what we understand. And I keep on hearing it has to do with insults, right? The modality by which this is a type of energy where like the modality by which you can't insult someone that knows themselves. Because when you can't insult someone that knows themselves, because someone who truly knows themselves says, unless you say something to me that carries a grain of truth in it, it does not impact me. And if it does carry a grain of truth in it, then I owe you an apology, is all I keep on hearing. That's what I keep on getting with this energy. That's why I got that. Because that's the energy that there is no way to insult someone that knows themselves, because the power of understanding of the self says, I'm listening, right? It's not the space by which you ignore. This is the energy, that the healed masculine that goes, I listen to every insult because I'm not listening for a comeback. I'm listening to make sure that there's not something in there that I truly need to work upon, right? That is the energy that like literally, and I keep on hearing even, and then this is the energy, I see the energy going, like, how small are you if you can't take And this is the energy that blesses their lips because they receive it, but they don't deliver it, is what I keep on seeing. They receive it, but they don't deliver it. Because the modality by which I see that this energy works through something is the modality by which they say to themselves that is that. And I keep wondering, that is what they're working through. And I feel like they're trying to forgive past versions of self that didn't realize or recognize themselves and was more reactive in the modality of navigating another person's projected fear towards them, because it's a continuation of that lesson that says, I heal the fear within me. Because if I don't heal the fear within me, then all everyone experiences is my terror, right? I become the manifestation of my terror. And the more that I'm able to heal my fear, I can actively hear the fear that others are carrying with them as it relates to the situations that I remind them of. And so this is a lot of the energy that is finding their way into empathy, but it starts with the understanding of knowing the self. Because when you're able to know yourself, you're able to understand the context by which another person is articulating something to the self. And so that's why I keep on seeing a lot. And I feel like this is a lot of the energy almost directing that back towards the same energy that they exist within, being like, I've checked my heart space. Have you? Is what I keep on seeing, right? Like the modality by which we work to protect other hearts, even if we're not in them, is all I keep on hearing. Continuing to get clarification. Unconscious of the feminine. 3 cards, please. We've got 1, 2, 3. Thank you. We've got the Tower card. Woo! And it's upright. Slippery tower. Slippery tower. The Hermit card in its reversal. And yeah, look at this. 7 of Wands and it's upright. This is a lot of the feminine energy that's healing their relationship to anger. There's nothing wrong with being angry. But you'll be surprised, right? Energy that only expects you to be pleasant will say that any sign of anger in feminine energy is a sign of distress. Right? Like, isn't that wild? Like, isn't that wild? Isn't that wild that feminine goes, "It's fine. You know what? You can exist. You just can't be angry about anything." And oh, and by the way, if you're angry about anything, you're crazy. Is what I keep on saying. This is the nature of what the feminine carries. This is the nature of what feminine carries, right? Literally living in a world where everyone else gets the right to be upset. You can stay here, but you can't be upset as long as you're not upset about anything. If you're upset about anything, I'm afraid you're gonna have to go, right? Like, that is the modality by which feminine articulates and says that the ability to hold anger, right? And it's interesting because I keep on hearing it's like I was gonna say anger, but it became hanger. But, like, the reason it's important there because it understands that there are things that we should be angry about. Because all that happens if you're in a modality or world that says you can stay here, but you can't be angry is saying you have to disassociate. Right? You have to disassociate and being like, and I need to stress this. Any place that you need to stay, that you need to dissociate in order to persist being there is not a healthy place. That's a trauma environment. What is the song that you will hear in a trauma environment? Disassociate, disassociate, disassociate. Just let it go. Just let it go. Right? Forgetfulness isn't forgiveness. We let go of anger in healthy ways. You want to know the prescription to heal anger? Change. That's all it takes. You wanna get rid of all that anger that you feel? I've got a beautiful prescription. I've got a beautiful prescription for all that anger you carry. It's called change. And you will be amazed how quickly that when you see the change, it's amazing. The anger, woof, it literally just it poofs away. It poofs away. So this is the energy that literally works into the space. And where does it grow? When someone says, just let it go, right? That's the thing with anger. Let it go. And so it grows, right? Let it go. And so it grows. Let it go. And so it grows. It doesn't go anywhere. It just stays within the body, just builds up and builds up and builds up. But the modality by which we see change, whew, it's like the change allows for years of anger accumulation to just disappear like thin air, right? And this is why the energy of the feminine says, as long as I'm not harboring, right? This is the feminine that says, as long as I recognize that I'm not getting space by the change happens and the anger is still there, that's concerning, right? That's a cause for concern. Oh, the change happened. The anger's still there. Obviously, I need to work on something. This is the energy that calibrates their anger and says, if my anger dissipates in the wake of change, that anger is healthy. That anger is protecting me. That anger is telling me things that I need to know in order for something to grow. Continuing to get clarification, unconscious of non binary energy. And we'll be utilizing the Smith Waite Centennial deck for this. 3 cards, please. 1, 2, 3. 5 of Cups. Double 5 of Cups right now for non-binary energy. 5 of Cups, 5 of Swords, and Hermit card in its upright. So, what are we energetically seeing in relationality to the space of that? Well, we effectively identify there. Um, I keep on getting for a lot of that energy, everything I keep on identifying is working into, and I think that this is really, I feel like this is really energetically important. Um, the modality or the experience of working into the context of, I keep on getting the same experience coming through, working into the shape of understanding and recognizing the modality by which we feel that another person energetically honors. I keep hearing the space by which we energetically honor one another is the modality by which we hold each other preciously, is what I keep on seeing. And I think that this is really important because I feel like there's a lot of this energy that has had to have experiences or modalities by which they were building into preciousness with another. And I keep on hearing there's nothing more heartbreaking than when another person defaces the preciousness that we hold between them. And I keep on hearing that this is what the energy deep within, like working in the unconscious, says. When we give someone something precious and they don't honor the precious gift we give them, that is, like, I keep on hearing, like, spirit weeps because it's the modality of understanding. I keep on hearing the quality and understanding of that energetic gift is I keep on hearing, like, the space by which we are energetically vulnerable with one another is the space by which we're energetically protective of it. And this is the modality or experience that this energy has had to work through in the space of another person defacing their vulnerability, is what I keep on hearing. And this is the energy that says when another defaces our vulnerability, we hold our head higher, not lower. Because in the modality by which another person defaces our vulnerability, we look back at them and we say, I see you. I see you taking something powerful and trying to turn it into something irrelevant. Because often this is what happens when someone is deep within their divine ego. And I keep on hearing that the deep unhealed ego will often say that didn't matter, is what I keep on hearing. And I keep on hearing that when somebody comes into that space by which they try to energetically distort something, by trying to articulate the fact that it didn't energetically matter, I just keep on seeing it matters more when you notice them doing that, right? Because I keep on hearing that when somebody says it doesn't matter, that, like, the fact that another person has to articulate that it doesn't matter, pay attention, because I keep on hearing it doesn't matter is literally the sound of someone saying, I've never recovered from it, right? It doesn't matter is often what the ego says, that says, I refuse to understand the healing that needs to go there. So the modality by which another person tries to make something trite is often the work of an unhealed ego that tries to articulate upon something that is precious, that feels petty, but is very, very telling, is what I keep on hearing. And I feel like there's something important about that in relationality to the energy and how it elaborates upon energy that is dismissive about precious things. Bottom of the deck, moving towards back towards masculine energy. We've got here the 8. We've got the 8 of Swords in its reversal. So what are we seeing there with the Ace of Swords in its reversal? We've got a lot of the energy that's working through the context of identifying and recognizing. I keep on seeing it's like working into the context of identifying and recognizing what feels, I keep on hearing like, this is the energy that continues to work on being vulnerable, is what I keep on seeing. And a lot of that energy, I keep on seeing, this is a continuation of articulating upon the vulnerability as a gift. And what's beautiful about being vulnerable is we immediately learn the value of our discernment as it relates to how another person receives our vulnerability. Because the modality by which, I keep on hearing, the modality by which we are energetically vulnerable, but even in the modality by which we're energetically vulnerable and we're able to articulate upon the fact that we're vulnerable, this is the energy that says you have to be brave in your vulnerability, which is the vulnerability that is true vulnerability does not expect something in return for vulnerability. Vulnerability is a gift in the space by which we have another that can hold it for us. It's not the modality by which vulnerability that is supposed to be reciprocal is not vulnerability, right? That's what I keep on hearing. That's not true vulnerability. Vulnerability asks for nothing, is all I keep on hearing. And this is the energy that continues to work into that context. But I see a lot of energy that like I feel like a lot of energy working through the sense of someone trying to be vulnerable and being like, yeah, I was vulnerable, and then they weren't vulnerable back. And then I pulled my vulnerability back. And someone being like, that's not vulnerable. Right? That's not what vulnerability means. Vulnerability does not ask for things in return. Vulnerability is being is a condition you find yourself, not something you put on in order to energetically receive something back for it, is all I keep on hearing. While for feminine energy right now, and we'll be utilizing the Smith Waite deck for the bottom of the deck of that, we've got the Ace of Cups in its reversal. And everything I keep on seeing in relationality to that Ace of Cups work is working into, I keep on getting, it's working into the context of recognizing and identifying the energetic, I keep on hearing like recognizing and identifying the shape of the work that we're trying to do. And I keep on getting, this is the energy that articulates upon the fact. And I like to point this out. Our anger or our feelings are always fortified by breath, right? The modality by which we're energetically upset is immediate. If we're ever not sure, if you're ever not sure if your anger is justified or not, speak it into life. And if you don't feel comfortable speaking it into life, if you feel silly or awkward, that's usually a sign that it's something that needs to be addressed internally, right? Healthy anger feels like a relief to be able to articulate upon, right? It's the modality by which one feels energetically empowered in the space by which we articulate and speak towards it. So I just keep on seeing a lot of that energy working in that capacity. But even in the modality by which they work towards that capacity, I just keep on seeing that a lot of that energy is identifying or recognizing the valuation point. And you know, even in the space of like looking towards others and being like welcoming a healthy conversation, but not chasing an uncomfortable confrontation down. I keep on hearing that this is the energy that says as long as they're doing the work to channel their anger through positive communication, the anger like helps the self because it helps you identify the energy that's working to resolve something versus energy that says, oh, like, why are you angry all the time? And I keep on hearing it's very convenient to avoid the way you'll describe the way that you'll discover a cycle of negligence, right? And this is why it's so important that we talk about the things that energetically bother us, because a cycle of negligence will will do nothing about one's anger, and then articulate that one has an anger problem when you finally are in the space by which you want to release it, right? So it's like it's an unwinnable system. And the thing you have to recognize when you're in a negligent cycle is the only way you can get away from a negligent cycle is just to move away from it, to discern it's energetically happening. So this is why we understand that our honor is sacred, because our honor helps us recognize negligent cycles. And what happens in a negligent cycle? The modality by which you articulate something and you articulate something and you articulate something and you articulate something and nothing changes until finally you scream it. And then someone says, "Oh my goodness, you're so angry. Maybe you need to go somewhere," right? That is a negligent system. And the faster that we're able to recognize that, the faster we're able to deliver ourselves from it. So that is why our anger is energetically blessed, because it's the alarm system to help us recognize if the things that we're concerned about are being navigated. So long as, right? So long as we're able to make sure that there are productive directions attached to the things that we're energetically angry about. This brings us to the non binary energy. Bottom of the deck for non binary energy right now is the Four of Coins in its reversal. So, what are we seeing right now with a lot of that Four of Coins in its reversal? This is a lot of the energy. I keep on seeing a lot of this energy is working through being able to see the difference between standards and trauma in disguise. You know how frustrating it is to be able to see the difference between standards and trauma in disguise? Standards are usually something that one can reasonably explain, right? That's a nice thing with a reasonable standard. If you ask someone why, and this is why our questions are blessed, right? Because these are standard discovery systems here. The modality by which you say to someone, "Why is that so important to you?" tells you everything you need to know as to whether someone's truly holding a standard or whether they're carrying trauma in disguise. Because what does trauma say in relationality to being carried? Because I said so, right? Trauma never explains itself, but trauma likes to disguise itself as standards. And this is why the energy does its best to fortify against that within the self. And they get really frustrated seeing others carrying it around. But it's really hard because this is the energy that sees that everywhere. And the modality by which often they feel like they ask questions and then someone says, "You really shouldn't be asking questions. Why are you so inquisitive?" Almost articulating like the questions themselves are the problem is usually further understanding of being in a trauma environment, because trauma environments don't like to explain themselves. They just tell you to do things. So that's why we see that for a lot of the energy working through that, it's like a lot of that energy that's just gotten used to the modality by which they feel they ask a question. And another person says, they said so. And the energy goes, "Oh, trauma environment. Great." It's like, great. Oh, it's a trauma. Oh, it's a trauma environment. Right. It's just recognizing like, oh, okay, I'm just in an absurd place. Right. I'm in an absurd place being driven by trauma because everybody's holding these standards and they won't give any inclination or indication as to why. So that's why I feel like a lot of that energy gets frustrated. And it's the energy that just gets frustrated for a reason. Right. It gets frustrated for a reason. It was like, how could you not be frustrated in the modality by which you understand that a healthy situation or relationship works towards understanding in all things, right? And this is what I keep on seeing that a lot of that energy does or works upon, right? This is the energy that does that work on the self that becomes a gift to all of the relationships that they're in, but they're very used to having to navigate situations or circumstances by which another person articulated that they're ready to build relationship, but then boom, it just became a trauma environment, because that's what happens when someone's not ready to do their shadow work effectively. Those who claim that they aspire for something and they haven't done their shadow work will often effectively embody the reason why they're not receiving something in the context of moving closer towards it. That, but I keep on seeing that even in the way by which they're working towards that, they're healing, like they're actively healing because they're trying to embody that force of change in their healthy partnerships. That is where we find all of the energy prior to that is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing them. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can do so on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site, so I would encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone who attended our recent tarot class and welcome you to this evening's tarot class, which will be happening at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the World card. If you would like to become part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material as a monthly subscriber. It's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing a recap for everyone who's joining us this evening on everything we've studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also receive you'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Class Archive, as well as a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I try to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I'd also encourage you to head over there to learn more about a very special retreat that I'll be hosting this August. I'd like to invite you to join me in Italy as we will be studying the tarot in the location by which the tarot was first discovered and found a home by which it grew and thrived. We will be studying the cards there as well as exploring the culture. And everyone who participates in that retreat will also be receiving a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me on top of the retreat offering. And also, if you sign up within this month, you will also be receiving an additional $200 discount on that retreat. So just head over to my stack if you'd like to learn more about that. I also would invite you to, if you'd like to learn more about, I also offer my mystic meditation articles there, which give you updates on everything that we've been studying energetically in the cards. I just wrote one recently on the full moon that we navigated. There'll be one shortly on the new moon that we have coming up. Finally, I want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students, again, seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or biweekly, as your schedule permits. Also, for my students seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or biweekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can have those readings at a discounted rate. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase the series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or biweekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.